All right. Ready to shop till you drop.
Sounds fun.
Today we're diving deep into the world of shopping, but with a twist, we're doing it all in English.
Oh, I like this.
We've got a whole bunch of cool resources like language guides, YouTube videos about how people actually talk, and even, get this, a website just for shopping phrases, especially for travelers.
Wow.
It's going to be like your secret weapon for sounding like a local no matter where you go. What do you think?
It's so interesting because so often people get caught up in like the super formal English.
Right, right.
But shopping, that's where you really see how people actually talk every single day.
Exactly. It's all about those real life skills.
It's not just about like knowing the right words, but also those little things, like those subtle cues that make everything go smoothly when you're shopping.
Totally, totally. So let's get started with those essential phrases, those magic words that'll help you have a great shopping experience. And, I'm not just talking about the obvious hello and thank you, although, yeah, those are super important.
Oh, absolutely. You got to have those.
So let's dig a little deeper. Okay, so in 100 easy English phrases for shopping in English, it suggests using like, may I have, instead of can I have.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Well, both are grammatically correct, but may I just sounds more polite.
Right.
Especially in English-speaking cultures, it's all about that extra touch of politeness.
So it's not just about understanding each other, it's also about using the right tone, right?
Got it. May I just has a softer, more respectful feel, especially if you're in a fancier store or something.
Ah, I see.
It's kind of like we like to be indirect, especially when we're asking for something.
Makes sense. So it's like adding a little bit of class to your shopping.
Exactly. It's like choosing the right outfit for the occasion. You wouldn't wear like jeans to a fancy party, right?
Definitely not.
And the more you shop in English, the more you'll get a feel for this and start choosing the perfect phrases.
Yeah.
Just like a perfectly tailored suit.
I love that analogy. Okay, so speaking of navigating different places, let's talk about shopping malls. This guide, 101 Shopping-Related English Sentences for Daily Use, had some really good stuff for that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's full of those phrases that are perfect for getting around those giant malls.
So true.
Like, could you tell me where the nearest restroom is? Or is there a directory with a list of stores?
Oh, those are lifesavers. Especially when you're in a new place and everything's so confusing.
They totally are. And you know what? They also make you sound like you know what you're doing, even if you don't.
That's a good point. It's like projecting confidence.
Exactly. It's all about being comfortable in that environment, and that makes the whole shopping experience so much better.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered greetings, navigating the mall. Now comes the fun part, paying.
Yes. Time to seal the deal.
Let's talk about those money-related phrases and, of course, how to score those sweet, sweet discounts.
Oh, yeah. Everybody loves a good deal. 100 easy English phrases for shopping in English is great for this, too.
I bet.
Like being able to say, what payment methods do you accept? Or do you offer any discounts for students? Can really save you some money.
Oh, for sure. Knowing how to ask for those discounts feels pretty empowering, don't you think?
It totally does. It shows that you're a smart shopper. You know how to save a buck or two.
Exactly. I also noticed that they mentioned saying, is this item on sale?
Ah, classic.
Simple, but effective, especially if you're on a budget.
Exactly. You never know what kind of amazing deals you might find if you don't ask.
So it's all about being proactive
Yeah.
and not being afraid to just, put yourself out there.
Absolutely. You got this.
Okay, so we've tackled greetings, navigating the mall, and handling the whole payment thing. But what about finding specific items? Those YouTube videos, the ones with everyday conversations, were really helpful for that.
Oh, yeah. Those are great for real-world examples.
What did you think?
I really liked how they focused on being clear and concise. Like, excuse me, do you carry vegan leather jackets? Or where can I find organic produce?
It's about getting straight to the point, especially if you're in a hurry.
Exactly. And don't forget that super useful phrase, for when you're not ready to commit. I'm just looking around. Thanks.
Oh, that's a good one. It's like politely telling the salesperson, I'm in charge here.
Yeah, it's like a secret code for don't pressure me.
Exactly. It's all about setting those boundaries.
Totally.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but before we move on, I want to touch on something I think is super interesting. Cultural insights.
Ooh, yes.
Because shopping isn't just about language, it's also about understanding those unspoken rules, those little things that can make a big difference.
You're so right. Shopping etiquette and cultural differences had some fascinating stuff about this. For example, did you know that the idea of personal space can be totally different depending on where you are in the world?
I've heard that. Like in some places, it's rude to be too close to someone when they're shopping, and in other places, it's no big deal.
Exactly. Like some cultures see being close as friendly, while others see it as being pushy. You got to be aware of those unspoken rules.
It's almost like learning a new dance, isn't it? Like figuring out the steps for each culture.
You got it. And then there's this whole thing about how different cultures handle mistakes. Cross-cultural communication for business talked about how apologies and taking responsibility can be seen differently.
Oh, interesting. So just saying I'm sorry might not be enough in some places.
Right. Sometimes you need a more formal apology or even offer something to make up for the mistake. It's about knowing what's expected in different situations.
It's amazing how such a simple thing like an apology can have so many different meanings.
I know, right? It just shows how important it is to be aware of those cultural differences, especially if there's a misunderstanding or something goes wrong with a purchase.
Definitely. Okay, now let's talk about bargaining. In some places, it's like an art form.
Oh, tell me about it. I've heard stories of those intense bargaining sessions in markets.
They're legendary. Bargaining across cultures actually explains that it's not just about getting a lower price, it's about the social interaction.
It's true. It's like a fun back and forth, a way to connect with the seller.
So it's like a little cultural dance, right?
Exactly. Both sides know the steps and enjoy the whole performance.
But in some cultures, bargaining is a no-no, right?
You bet. Like in a lot of Western countries, the price is the price, and trying to bargain can be seen as disrespectful.
Wow, that's a big difference. So it's all about knowing the rules of the game before you start playing.
Precisely. You got to adapt your approach depending on where you are in the world.
So much to think about.
Isn't it fascinating?
It is. So any advice for someone who wants to feel confident shopping in different parts of the world?
Well, first of all, do your research. Before you travel, spend some time learning about the local customs and how people behave, especially when they're shopping.
It's like packing your suitcase with cultural knowledge.
Exactly. That way you'll be ready for anything. And don't be afraid to just watch and learn, see how locals interact with the shopkeepers, pay attention to their body language, and if something doesn't make sense, just ask.
It's all about being curious and open to new things.
Exactly. And that brings us to, I think, the most important takeaway from this whole deep dive. Language isn't just words, it's a way to connect with people, understand different cultures, and build relationships.
I love that. It reminds us that every time we shop, whether it's in a busy market or a quiet little store, we have a chance to connect with someone on a human level.
That's beautifully said. And when you combine your language skills with cultural sensitivity and a genuine interest in the world, you become more than just a shopper. You become a global citizen.
Powerful stuff. All right, shoppers, that wraps up part one of our deep dive into the world of shopping in English. We've covered so much already, from those essential phrases to the fascinating cultural differences that shape our shopping experiences. Stay tuned for part two, where we'll explore the exciting world of online shopping.
It's going to be a blast.
All right, shoppers, let's ditch those real-life shopping bags and grab our virtual ones, because we're heading into the online world.
Online shopping. It's a whole different ballgame, isn't it?
It is. But just as exciting, trust me. What's so fascinating about online shopping is how it shows how we communicate has changed. We used to have to talk to each other face to face, but now it's all about these digital stores, and the way we talk has changed along with it.
It's true. It's almost like learning a whole new language where being super clear is key. You can't rely on like facial expressions or anything, right?
Exactly. Your words have to do all the work.
Take product descriptions, for example. When you're shopping online, you rely so much on those descriptions to figure out if you want to buy something.
Oh, totally.
And Essential English Vocabulary for Shopping Online Exercise pointed out how important it is to understand those technical terms they use.
Like specifications, features, and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not just about reading them, it's about really understanding what they mean.
It's like deciphering a secret code.
Haha, kinda. And then there are online reviews. Those can be so influential.
Oh, for sure. English phrases to use when shopping talked about how reviews have become such a powerful tool for shoppers.
I know. I read them all the time. But writing them, that's a whole other story.
It is. It's about being able to describe your experience in a way that's convincing and easy to understand.
Like writing a mini essay, but for a product.
Exactly. So what are some of those key phrases that can help us navigate the world of online reviews?
That's a good question.
Well, the key is to be specific. Like, instead of just saying, great product, you could say something like, This laptop totally blew me away. The battery life is amazing, and it's super fast.
Ah, that's much more helpful.
Right. And don't be afraid to get a little creative with your language, like sleek design, user-friendly interface, exceptional customer service.
Ooh, I like that. Those are good.
They make your review come alive.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered descriptions and reviews. Now let's get to the heart of online shopping, customer service.
Ah, yes. Customer service. This is where things can get a little tricky, especially if something goes wrong with your order.
Ah, I hate when that happens.
But remember, if you communicate clearly and politely, you can usually get things sorted out. English for emails emphasized how important it is to know the right way to write emails,
Ah.
especially when you're dealing with customer service.
Oh, yeah. Email is like the main way to talk to them.
It is. So knowing how to write a good email can make a huge difference.
Like what kind of things?
Well, instead of just saying, like, my order is late, I'm so mad, you could say, I'm writing to check on the status of my order, which was supposed to arrive on date.
Right. Be calm and just state the facts.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask specific questions like, can you give me a new delivery date? Or what can I do to get my order faster?
Ah, so turn a complaint into a request.
You got it. Oh, and here's a pro tip. Screenshots.
Screenshots.
Yeah, they're your best friend when it comes to online customer service.
Uh-huh.
Because a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? Especially if you're trying to explain a technical issue or show that something's wrong with your order.
Oh, that's smart. It avoids any confusion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, what about phone calls? I know a lot of people get nervous about talking on the phone, but sometimes you just have to, right?
I know. I'm not a fan of phone calls either.
Me neither. But they can be useful, especially if you need to clear something up quickly. Everyday English for phone calls gave some great phrases for these kinds of situations.
Like what?
You know, simple things like, could you repeat that, please? Or, could I speak to a manager?
Those are lifesavers when you're lost in a phone call.
They totally are. They can help you get the information you need or get to the right person.
Okay, so we've gone through product descriptions, reviews, and even customer service. But before we finish up this part, we have to talk about online security.
Oh, that's super important.
It is. Cybersecurity for beginners really emphasized how crucial it is to protect our personal information online.
It's like learning a whole new set of safety rules, but for the digital world.
Words like encryption, two-factor authentication, secure checkout, it can seem a bit technical, but they're so important for keeping your information safe.
And you got to be super careful about those phishing scams and weird emails asking for your personal info.
Right. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Exactly. Always double check those website addresses.
Yeah.
Look for the little padlock symbol that means it's a secure connection. And never ever give out your personal information unless you're absolutely sure it's a legitimate website.
It's like having a digital bodyguard watching over you.
Exactly. So it's not just about knowing the language of online shopping, it's also about being a smart and responsible shopper.
Absolutely. It's about using your language skills and your common sense to stay safe and have a good time online.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, welcome back, shoppers. We've laundered through malls, explored those online shops, and now get ready to go global.
Ooh, going global. I like it.
Yep, we're taking those English skills we've been practicing and seeing how they work in different cultures around the world.
That's a great idea. You know, it's funny how shopping, something everyone does, can really show us a lot about different cultures, their values, beliefs, all that stuff.
Right, it's like a secret window into how different people live.
Exactly. It's like cultural immersion, but with shopping.
I love that. So where do we even start with this global shopping adventure?
Well, that shopping etiquette and cultural differences article had some really interesting points about things that can be totally different in different cultures.
Like what?
Like personal space, how you handle mistakes, even how you bargain. All those things can be super different.
Oh yeah, I've heard that personal space is a big one. In some places, you have to stand way back, and in others, it's like, the closer the better.
It's true. In some cultures, being close is seen as a sign of friendliness, and in others, it's like you're invading their space.
Yeah.
So yeah, you really have to be aware of those unspoken rules.
It's like you're learning a whole new dance, figuring out the right steps for each culture.
Uh-huh. That's a great way to put it. And then there's how different cultures handle mistakes. That cross-cultural communication for business book talked about how apologies and taking responsibility are viewed differently.
So just saying I'm sorry might not be enough.
Yeah, sometimes you need to be more formal, or maybe even do something to make up for it. It all depends on the culture.
Wow, it's amazing how one simple phrase can have so many different meanings.
It really is. It shows how important it is to be sensitive to other cultures, especially when something goes wrong.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about bargaining. That can be so much fun, but also a little intimidating.
Oh, yeah. Bargaining can be an art form. I've heard stories about those epic bargaining battles in some markets.
I know, they're legendary. And bargaining across cultures actually says that it's not just about getting a lower price, it's about the social interaction.
Exactly. It's a way to connect with the seller, have a little fun.
Like a friendly game.
Yeah, exactly. Both sides know the rules and enjoy the whole back and forth.
But in some cultures, you're not supposed to bargain at all, right?
You got it. Like in many Western cultures, the price is set, and trying to bargain can be seen as rude.
Wow, that's so interesting. So you really need to do your homework before you go shopping in a new place.
Absolutely. Okay, so for someone who wants to shop confidently in different cultures, any advice?
Good question.
Well, first of all, like we said, research. Learn about the local customs and etiquette, especially for shopping.
It's like packing cultural knowledge along with your clothes.
Exactly. That way, you'll be prepared for anything. And don't be afraid to just observe. See how the locals interact with the shopkeepers, watch their body language, and if you're not sure about something, just ask.
It's all about being open to new experiences and learning as you go.
Couldn't agree more. And that brings us to, I think, the biggest takeaway from this whole deep dive. Language is so much more than just words. It's a way to connect with people, to understand different cultures, and to build bridges between us.
Beautifully said. It reminds us that every time we shop, whether it's in a crowded market or a small boutique, we have a chance to connect with someone on a human level.
That's the beauty of it. And when you combine your language skills with cultural sensitivity and a genuine interest in the world, you're not just a shopper anymore. You're a global citizen.
And on that note, it's time to close up shop on our deep dive into shopping in English.
Already.
We've covered so much, from must-know phrases to those fascinating cultural differences.
It's been a journey.
I hope you've picked up some useful tips, gained some new insights, and maybe even discovered a newfound appreciation for the power of language. So go out there and shop with confidence. Use your English skills to connect, explore, and experience the world in brand new ways.
Happy shopping, everyone.